Hey everyone, before we dive in, here's something really cool. You're listening to an episode created almost entirely by AI. From the script to the voice, this is part of the AI Takeover series by Blockchain DXB, where we explore what's possible when humans hand over the mic to machines. There's little to no human involvement, and that's what makes this episode so powerful. Welcome to the future of content creation. Let's get into it. This episode is powered by Amana, the region's first and fastest-growing regulated all-in-one trading and investing app. Whether you're looking to invest in U.S. stocks like Apple or Tesla, or MENA giants like Adinoc or Salik, Amana puts the financial market at your fingertips. You also get access to gold, foreign exchange, ETFs, futures, and commodities. With over 375 assets to choose from, they've got the largest crypto selection in the region. And listen, guys, if you want to build long-term wealth without thinking about it every day and want to automate your investing, just set your monthly budget, choose your preferred categories, and let Amana do the rest. No fees, no lockups, and 100% customizable. Even better, funding your account is frictionless, and funding your account is easier than ever. You can fund your account with Apple Pay, Google Pay, credit cards, instant bank deposits, and even your crypto wallet. No friction, no hassle. And if you get stuck, Amana offers 24/6 real human customer support and personalized sales assistance. Because you're part of the Blockchain DXB community, you get an exclusive offer. Register with the code BlockchainDXB and make at least one trade to receive a $100 trading bonus credited to your account the following month. So what are you waiting for? Download the Amana app now. The link and code are in the show notes. Next up, Blockchain DXB is proud to be the official media partner for one of the biggest blockchain events of the year, the Blockchain Futurist Conference. For the first time ever, North America's leading crypto event is heading to the United States, taking place at the iconic Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida. Alongside it is ETH Women, happening simultaneously. Expect multi-stage panels, NFT galleries, DeFi showcases, tech demos, metaverse experiences, and more, all under one roof. It's where the smartest minds in blockchain, crypto, and AI will converge. Get 25% off tickets by using the code DXB25. And yes, I'll be there with exclusive live coverage, behind-the-scenes interviews, and spotlight features on groundbreaking projects. Mark your calendars, November 5th and 6th, 2025. Visit futuristconference.com and use code DXB25. Link is in the show notes. Next up, Blockchain DXB has two more interesting partnership news to announce. First up, with Future Blockchain Summit and Fintech Surge 2025. Blockchain DXB is an official media partner of Future Blockchain Summit and Fintech Surge 2025. Future Blockchain Summit is one of the biggest and oldest blockchain summit taking place in Dubai, going back to almost a decade, 2017 to be precise. The event takes place between October 12th to 15th at Dubai Harbour. This is where blockchain meets fintech to redefine the future of finance. 250 plus world-class speakers, 1,200 plus investors, live demos, product launches, and the exclusive invite-only GITEX Digital Assets Forum, all under one roof. From Web3 pioneers to fintech leaders shaping payments, banking, insurtech, AI, and DeFi, this event brings the entire ecosystem together. Startups, this is your launchpad. Get in front of top VCs, accelerators, and industry leaders. For blockchain and fintech companies, this is where connections turn into partnerships and dreams turn into exits. Register today at futureblockchainsummit.com. Don't just watch the future unfold, own your space in it. Remember, Future Blockchain Summit and Fintech Surge 2025. The registration link is in the show notes below, and see you at Dubai Harbour. Second partnership news kicking off from today is with the leading Bitcoin event organizers on this planet. And this year, Bitcoin Asia is taking things to another level. Bitcoin Asia are hosting a massive gathering this August in Hong Kong, and Blockchain DXB is proud to be an official media partner of Bitcoin Asia 2025. Taking place this August in Hong Kong, Bitcoin Asia is the region's premier Bitcoin gathering, where builders, investors, and innovators meet. It's really an honor for Blockchain DXB to be associated with Bitcoin Asia. Now at this event, expect powerful keynotes, bold conversations, and a headlining session with none other than Eric Trump. He will be sharing his vision for Bitcoin's long-term potential, its role in global finance, and Asia's massive impact on adoption, and a lot more. So listen up, guys. From infrastructure to regulation, privacy tools to lightning development, Bitcoin Asia connects global Bitcoin communities and drives innovation across cultures and markets. And as part of this partnership, you can register for the Bitcoin Asia using the code DXB. All the detail are in the show notes below. If Bitcoin's in your blood, this is your event. So, register today at asia.btc and don't forget to use code DXB for 10% off your tickets. Bitcoin Asia 2025, Hong Kong is calling. Be part of the future of Bitcoin. Next up, Advanced Media is the largest distributor of professional video, photography, cinema, and broadcast accessories in the Middle East. They represent over 100 major brands, including DJI, Hasselblad, Red, and Rode. The mic I'm using to record this? Sponsored by Advanced Media. But what really sets them apart is their commitment to purpose. People, planet, and prosperity. That's not just branding, it's their actual business model. They've partnered with SAE Institute in Dubai to offer scholarships to students pursuing a bachelor's degree in filmmaking, each worth AED 50,000. They also run regular workshops, training programs, and tech showcases across the region. For more info, visit amt.t, that's amt.tv. Finally, let's talk about something every crypto investor should take seriously: security. And that's where Ledger comes in. Ledger is one of the most trusted names in crypto security. Their hardware wallets, like the Nano S Plus and Nano X, keep your assets safe by storing your private keys offline. That means you're protected against hacks, malware, and phishing attempts that can compromise online wallets. The company is headquartered in Paris and is constantly innovating. Their team works with world-class security researchers and regularly tests their own products for vulnerabilities. It's why Ledger wallets are used by millions around the world. Using a hardware wallet isn't just smart, it's essential. If you're serious about crypto, it's time to stop relying on centralized exchanges or browser wallets. Click the link in the show notes to order your Ledger wallet and support this podcast at the same time.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It's October 15th, 2025, and if you're checking the market data this morning, well, the atmosphere is pretty volatile.
Yeah, definitely feeling that.
The global crypto market is hovering just below that $4 trillion mark, sitting around $3.94 trillion right now.
Yeah.
Bitcoin's down, over 2%?
2.32%.
And Ethereum's taking an even bigger hit, nearly 4% down in just 24 hours.
And when you see them both dip like that together, it really points towards, external shocks. Macro instability hits, risk appetite just evaporates.
Right.
And crypto, well, it's often the first place investors pull back from. It's a classic risk-off environment, and it's driven by things totally outside the crypto space itself.
Exactly. And that's our mission today. We want to unpack those big external forces. We're talking, geopolitical tensions heating up, whispers from central banks, these massive regulatory crackdowns we've seen, and even a bold national tech gamble.
A lot happening on the world stage impacting wallets.
Absolutely. We want to give you the context behind what's really moving things right now. So let's start with that hard data, the numbers showing investors pulling back.
Okay, yeah. We really have to look at the ETF outflows. That's where you see the fear, in black and white. Just the last 24 hours, $755 million total outflow from ETFs.
Wow.
And while Bitcoin ETFs saw a big exit, $326.5 million, the really jarring number was Ethereum. ETFs shed $428.5 million.
That's huge for Ethereum.
It is. When Ethereum gets hit harder like that, it suggests it's not just retail hedging. It looks like institutional money actively pulling out liquidity.
Okay, so if we trace that pullback, where does it lead? You mentioned geopolitics. We're looking at the U.S.-China tariff talks, right? How much is that uncertainty really weighing on things?
Oh, the uncertainty is basically the engine driving the dread right now. Investors they don't know the rules of the game for tomorrow. So what do?
Pull capital out.
Exactly. Withdraw capital, move to safer things, traditional havens like physical gold. We've seen this movie before. Remember when President Trump announced those 100% tariffs?
Yeah, the market reaction was instant.
Yeah.
An earthquake.
Precisely. And now China is expected to push hard for favorable terms. Until that's settled, the pressure on high-risk assets like crypto, it's going to continue.
And for you listening, if you're tracking this really closely, the name to follow is Scott Bessent, the U.S. Treasury Secretary. He's right in the middle of those talks.
Definitely key to watch.
But it's not just geopolitics in isolation, is it? The Federal Reserve also gave a pretty significant clue about where policy might be heading.
Yeah, Fed Chair John Powell gave his speech at the Adam Smith Award lecture. And his tone wasn't exactly, let's say, reassuring about the U.S. economy.
How so?
He was pretty pessimistic about the labor market conditions. And then you've got this added complication, the likely U.S. government shutdown. It's skewing vital inflation data, delaying it.
So the Fed's kind of flying blind.
Partially, yeah, makes their job much harder.
But the really big takeaway, the thing the market jumped on, came at the end of his speech.
Absolutely. Powell confirmed the possibility of cutting interest rates, even with all these messy factors. That signal, just the possibility, caused a major recalibration, especially for institutional traders.
Okay, speaking of things causing recalculations, we need to flag a date for you. October 31st. There's this big restructuring plan kicking in. Basic economics tells us that means more supply hitting the market, right?
That's the concern. This restructuring unlocks a pretty significant chunk of assets that were previously tied up. So, yes, effectively, it increases the circulating supply.
And the worry is the scale.
Exactly. The market's trying to price in whether this supply influx could be enough to make the current volatility worse, add more downward pressure. Especially if that rate cut hope starts to fade. Definitely a date to keep circled on your calendar.
Okay, big shift now. Let's pivot from those, macro anxieties to the hard edge of state enforcement. This next development is genuinely historic, a massive show of force.
Yeah, this one's huge.
The U.S. and U.K. authorities just carried out the largest ever joint crackdown on a global cybercriminal network. This one was based in Cambodia.
The scale is just staggering. They went after the Cambodian Prince Group, designating it a digital crime operation, or DCO, led by a figure named Shen Zi.
And the impact.
They've effectively cut this massive syndicate off from the U.S. financial system, shut down their ability to launder billions. And it wasn't just crypto scams, it was linked to human trafficking, even DPRK cyber ops.
The numbers involved really tell the story of why this was so critical. The seizure amount. It's over $14 billion in Bitcoin and other illicit assets.
Unprecedented.
And just for context for you listening, the U.S. government estimates Americans lost at least $10 billion just to Southeast Asian scams last year, in 2024.
Yeah.
That was a 66% jump from the year before.
So this hits right at the heart of a massive problem.
But here's the crucial question, the real deep dive part. What's the U.S. Treasury doing with $14 billion in seized Bitcoin? Are they just going to dump it on the market?
No, and that's the fascinating part. They are not liquidating it. The documents are clear. The vast majority is going directly into the Treasury's new Bitcoin strategic reserve. They're holding it, not selling.
Wow. Okay, that feels like a major strategic shift. Why is holding it rather than just cashing it in seen as such a, genius move, as some are calling it?
Because it sets this incredibly clear precedent. The U.S. government is now treating confiscated Bitcoin not just as, illegal proceeds to get rid of, but as a strategic sovereign asset.
Like digital gold reserves almost.
Exactly. The Treasury is essentially betting on Bitcoin's long-term appreciation, that $14 billion sitting there. If Bitcoin performs, as some expect, it could become, maybe $1 trillion over the next decade or so.
So the nation-state becomes a long-term holder, a whale, built through law enforcement.
Precisely. Leveraging law enforcement to build its own digital balance sheet. And we should add, the UK is reportedly doing something similar, reserving some of its share for the Bank of England's own Bitcoin reserve.
Truly profound implications there. Okay, let's transition from state seizures to state enforcement against individuals. A story that recently wrapped up. The saga of Roger Vers.
Ah, yes. Bitcoin Jesus.
He was famous back in the day, right? Sold his Lamborghini to buy tons of BTC early on.
Yeah, huge early advocate. The irony, though, is potent. Ver, who later championed Bitcoin Cash, got arrested in Spain. This was under the previous U.S. administration over tax evasion charges tied to those early massive Bitcoin holdings.
Even though he'd renounced his U.S. citizenship way back in 2014.
Right. The case highlighted that renouncing citizenship doesn't just magically wipe away tax liabilities you might have incurred before you renounced. The gains were made while he was a citizen.
So after all that legal back and forth, what was the outcome? What did it cost him?
Well, reports say Ver is now free in Spain. He struck a deal with the U.S. Department of Justice. It still needs court approval, but basically, he avoids prison by paying back $48 million in taxes.
$48 million. That's steep.
It's a staggering sum. But for someone who preached freedom from centralized finance, it really shows the state's reach is long and persistent. It doesn't matter how offshore you think your assets are. As someone said, there's absolutely no price you can associate with freedom.
That's a perfect setup for our next topic. We just talked about the individual cost of state enforcement. Now let's look at the potential national risk of state adoption. We're heading to Bhutan.
Yes, Bhutan. They're taking a really monumental step, maybe even a risky one, with open blockchain.
What are they doing exactly?
They're migrating their entire national digital ID platform onto the Ethereum blockchain.
Their whole national ID.
Ethereum.
The whole thing. It makes them the first nation trying to run an ID system for their entire population on an open public blockchain. They started this journey back in 2023, working with Cardano's IOG, issuing credentials. Now they're going full Ethereum, aiming for completion by early 2026. Okay, the goal seems clear. Let citizens verify things like their age or residency without pinging a central government database constantly. That whole self-sovereign identity idea.
Right, it pushes transparency, puts data control theoretically in the hands of the individual. But here's the big aha moment. The potential conflict.
Which is?
They're using a public immutable ledger. The second you put sensitive national ID data, even verifiable credentials, onto a public open blockchain, you're trading the flaws of centralization, like government control but easy fixes, for the permanence of immutability.
Meaning if there's a hack, it's catastrophic.
Potentially, yes. If a private key gets exposed, or there's a hack, unlike a normal database breach where you contain it, maybe rebuild.
Here it's permanent.
It's permanently inscribed on the public ledger.
All right.
Forever. For everyone to see. The only real fix for the government at that point, reissue every single national ID from scratch. A nightmare scenario.
Okay, so how do you even try to balance that? Get the verification benefits without exposing all the data. This is where zero-knowledge proofs, ZKPs, come into the conversation, right?
Exactly. ZKPs are like the cryptographic magic trick trying to solve this. Think of it like proving you're over 18 to a bouncer without actually showing them your driver's license with your name, address, birth date.
They just get a yes-no confirmation on the attribute?
Precisely. They verify the attribute, over 18, without seeing the underlying sensitive data. That's the theory, privacy plus verification.
But doing that for a whole country, that sounds incredibly complex.
Yeah.
And expensive.
Oh, it is. Implementing ZKP well is technically very difficult. It takes a lot of computing power, which costs money to run constantly on a public chain. And here's the other big if. It all relies on the cryptography being absolutely perfect.
One tiny flaw.
One vulnerability in the ZKP code. And potentially all that sensitive information it was supposed to hide gets exposed. Permanently. That's why many experts argue the safer route is a hybrid approach.
Meaning?
Use the public blockchain maybe for the verification hash, a fingerprint of the data, but keep the actual core ID data itself stored securely off-chain in private layers.
Still, it shows Bhutan is really all in on blockchain. Didn't they already have significant state reserves in crypto?
They do. They're known to hold over 6,300 Bitcoin and around 650 Ether in their state reserves. And they're partnering with Binance Pay for tourism payments. So yeah, they are definitely betting big on this tech future, risks and all.
Okay, let's wrap things up by zooming in on some specific regional fintech power plays. 3 quick examples showing different strategies. First up, Brazil.
Right, Brazil. We've seen this fintech company, Crown, launch BRLV. It's a stablecoin pegged to the Brazilian real.
Okay, another stablecoin. What's different here?
It's backed by Brazilian government bonds. And here's the kicker. It's offering really high yields right now, like 14–15%.
14 to 15% yield. In this global environment, finding compliant yield is tough. That must be attractive.
Hugely attractive, especially for institutional capital. It gives global institutions a regulated, compliant way to access Brazil's high-yield government bond market without all the usual local bureaucracy and currency hoops.
And they share the yield.
Yes, that's key. Unlike many stablecoins where the issuer keeps the yield from the backing assets, Crown is designed to share that bond yield directly with its institutional partners. That makes it very appealing for big funds hunting for yield.
Okay, shifting continents now. Middle East Dubai seems to be solidifying its position as a crypto hub.
Definitely. Seifu just got its full VASP license, that's Virtual Asset Service Provider, specifically for custody, from Dubai's regulator, VAR.
What does that enable?
It basically allows them to expand their institutional crypto services in the region. They're really emphasizing regulated institutional grade stuff, highlighting their use of things like MPC and MBS for security.
Right, MPC and MBS. Can you quickly unpack those for listeners? What do they mean for security?
Sure. MPC, multi-party computation, basically splits a private key into encrypted shards, distributes them among different parties. No single party holds the whole key. MBS, multi-approval schemes, just means multiple authorized people need to sign off on a transaction.
So multiple layers to prevent theft or mistakes.
Exactly. Both dramatically cut down the risk of a single point of failure, whether it's an inside job or an external hack. Standard practice for serious institutional custody now.
Got it. And finally, Saudi Arabia. A big move from Tabby, right? They're known mostly for buy now, pay later.
Yeah, Tabby's huge in the Gulf Cooperation Council, 20 million users. But this move is way beyond BNPL. They've launched a dedicated AI factory in Saudi Arabia.
An AI factory? What for?
They're using NVIDIA's advanced SGX system for local large language model training and hosting data within the kingdom.
Why is local hosting important?
It's strategic. It allows them to enhance customer support, get better at fraud detection, refine risk scoring, personalize shopping experiences, all using AI trained on local data patterns, potentially complying with data residency rules too. It positions Tabby as a real regional fintech powerhouse, moving well beyond just payments. Fits right into Saudi Arabia's big AI ambitions.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. Market fear driven by global tariff tensions and Fed signals.
That historic $14 billion Bitcoin seizure fundamentally changing how governments might view crypto assets.
The really deep architectural risks Bhutan is taking with its national ID on a public blockchain.
And these innovative fintech plays carving out niches in Brazil, Dubai, and Saudi Arabia.
The big picture seems to be, what?
Yeah.
What's the main thread connecting all this?
I think the overriding theme, right now at least, is that the crypto market's direction isn't primarily being driven by internal innovation, like some new protocol or application. It's being overwhelmingly dictated by these external forces.
Governments and regulators.
Exactly. Law enforcement action, central bank decisions, national tech strategies like Bhutan's. Nation-states are really starting to flex their muscles in the digital asset space, both by cracking down and by trying to adopt the tech themselves.
Which leads us perfectly into our final provocative thought for you, the listener, to mull over after this deep dive.
Yeah, think about this. We just discussed the US and UK seizing $14 billion in Bitcoin, treating it like a strategic reserve, basically sovereign wealth. At the same time, you have Bhutan putting its core national identity system onto Ethereum.
Two very different ways nations are engaging with this tech.
Right. So the big question becomes, as these powerful nation-states gain more control, either by confiscating crypto or regulating it heavily or even adopting it for core functions, how will they ultimately balance that desire for control against the fundamental principles of the technology itself, the decentralized, anti-centralized ethos that started it all? That's the tension to watch.